Okay, hey guys. I want to do a little lesson on chanda, which is Sanskrit prosody, or the rules of Sanskrit poetic cadence and meter. Here, I'm using an example that will make it very. What I mean is like in a lesson where I'm going to explain the rules of Sanskrit cadence. I'm going to use this as an example because this particular chanda has a very simple alternating pattern. That's da 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 da. For example, here on the first line, Amburanjanenda Nilav Nindi Kanti Dambara. So every line is going to do that. And the reason why we're going with this very simple, easy to remember pattern is because I want to explain the rules of chanda and let you focus on those rules by using this as well, like, when you have a lesson that's easy. Because there are other chandas where the pattern, instead of being da 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 da, are, for example, da 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 da, or da 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 da. A little bit harder to remember. So let's look at this. We are going to explain the rules of chanda using IAST as our example. This is IAST, which is a Romanized version of the Sanskrit alphabet. Because we're not looking at any Sanskrit script, and because many of my viewers may not be familiar enough to read the Sanskrit script in the first place, and then we're going to go with IAST. IAST means Internationally Accepted Sanskrit Transliteration. IAST has been in use for quite a number of years, for maybe like a century or more. And it takes the Romanized script that we use in English and many other languages around the world. It uses that alphabet of 26 letters and then uses diacritics, such as you see here, there. Because in Sanskrit there's two A's. So therefore one of the A's is modified by that line over it. Because the Sanskrit alphabet has like 3 or 4 D's, so there you have that modified. Because the Sanskrit alphabet contains a letter which is similar to an H but distinct, therefore we have that H with a dot under it, and so on. Okay, so the Sanskrit alphabet has 48 letters. As you can see, we need to come up with 22 extra characters. So onward with the I'm going to now explain the rules of chanda, how to recognize chanda. In the first place, we're going to just discuss that any language, Sanskrit in this case, any language has what we will call light and heavy syllables. My father always used to explain it like this. You have to put the right emphasis, you have to put the emphasis on the right syllable. And he would do that humorously, because obviously no one says emphasis, we say emphasis. And no one says syllable, we say syllable. So my father would say, you must put emphasis on the right syllable. Humorously, he would say that. So Sanskrit, like any other language, you can't say emphasis and you can't say syllable. You have to say emphasis and syllable, for example. So, this word, if we take, well, actually, this line is actually, in a sense, all one word, but not. When you see these hyphens separating those words, the reason why you're seeing those hyphens is because Sanskrit in its written form has the tendency or the rule not to separate words, which is phenomenal. Like, for example, like if I were to have like an Instagram handle and the different words in my handle were all stuck together, although I could separate them with an underscore, for example, or a dot. Still, if the words of my Instagram handle were all stuck together, that would be extraordinary. Like, why are they not separated by dots or dashes or underscores or what have you, right? So these hyphens that are separating the words of this Sanskrit line don't exist in the Devanagari script. When that's written in a Sanskrit script, that will basically all appear as one word. But they've hyphenated it. Ambudanjanendra. Even that first word, Ambu, Anjan, Indra, that could be construed as three words, but here we're making that into one long word, Ambudanjanendra. So, the cadence of this word, Ambudanjanendra, da 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 da. And then, Nila, Nindi, Kanti, Dambara. So, I swear I'm going to get into the rules of Chanda real quick. I just did a lot of cooking and washing, so my hands are pretty rough. Okay. We count syllables 20 on one hand using only 4 fingers and the thumb. This is really important because Sanskrit poetic verses will have a maximum of 21 syllables per line. So if I count 1, 2, 3, right? First section, 2, 3, fingertip 4, fingernail 5. Then you can see how I can get to 10, 15, 20. Again, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on. So if I get to 20 and 21, on one hand, my thumb is free to do the counting, and I only need the 4 fingers of one hand, and my other hand is free not to do counting but to continue holding the book, then that's phenomenal. So, as I said, this style of chanda is very easy to remember because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. The poem has 4 lines that all follow this pattern. Da 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 da. In another video, we can go into other chandas, like this one, for example. It's completely different. Da 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 da. It's a pattern that you might have a hard time remembering first off, right? So, this first syllable, ambu, it's heavy light, ambu, right? Why is the first syllable heavy? Because a vowel that precedes two consonants stuck together, MB. The rules of Chanda say that if a vowel precedes two or more consonants, that vowel becomes heavy. Another way of saying that, and I've heard it said this way, is that when you see two or more consonants, the vowel to the left becomes heavy. Now, you see that U there, that U remains light. The rules of Chanda say that if an A has a line over it, again, we're just saying that in IAST because we're not looking at Devanagari at the moment. But if an A has a line over it, then it's heavy. Now, you can also see that there's an N and a J there. That's two consonants stuck together. And that could tell us that even if that hadn't been a long A, then that vowel would be heavy for the second reason I mentioned. Never mind that, it's going to happen many times. Sometimes you will find a syllable that is heavy for multiple reasons. It's of no consequence, but I'm just pointing it out because I mentioned that this one without a line over the A became heavy because of the two consonants. Here, this became heavy on its own because it has a line over it. Another thing I want to point out, never mind, I'll continue. So that A is again light, and this one, now the letter E, in IST, the letter E is always heavy. Again, we see that because there's two consonants there together, it would have been heavy for that reason also. Actually, three consonants together, NDR. This one, light, that A. This is very hard to see, but perhaps at that closeness, you saw that was not a dot over the I, but a flat line. So just like the A, when an I has a line over it, then that I is heavy. And it's pronounced E as opposed to I. Whereas if it has a dot, then it's I as in if. And I don't know, with a line over it, then it's as in relief. I don't know. Maybe that's not an example because IE, but whatever. Pardon me, because Sanskrit orthography is very tight and English orthography is very loose. Orthography, for those of you who haven't looked the word up or don't already know, orthography means the relationship between letters and sounds. So, Nila, heavy light. Nindi, heavy light. That I has no line over it, but it comes before ND, so it became heavy. That doesn't necessarily mean that it influenced the sound of it. It's still Nindi, not Nindi, but it became heavy. Kanti, again, we have an A that is heavy for two different reasons. Kanti, Dambara, da da da, right? That A became heavy, or that da became heavy because of MB. That A remains light, no line over it, and no conjunction of, no dual, triple consonants. Sometimes you'll even find four or more consonants together. Dambara. That H with the dot under it also tells us that the preceding vowel is heavy, And a second reason is that the last syllable of any line can always be considered heavy. Can always, I heard it that way. So that's why I didn't say must always. I'll have to think about that a little more. So the second, third, and fourth line are all going to follow that pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Da 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 da. Sorry. Da 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 da. 15 syllables begins and ends on a heavy syllable. For a point of academia, I will say that the phrases heavy and light in Sanskrit are guru and laghu. Although guru means spiritual master, saint, teacher, prophet, and mentor, and so many things, guru also means just heavy. So in this case, it's being used in that context. Guru meaning heavy, and laghu meaning light. It's simply being used in the sense of the dichotomy of heavy and light. Laghu light, guru heavy. So let me think. Have we actually even covered all of the rules? No, we'll continue because I think there are more rules that will determine heavy and light syllables. So let's continue a little bit more for them all to come up. I have told you so far that if there is 2 or more consonants, then the vowel to the left becomes heavy. And I've also explained that as a vowel becomes heavy if there are 2 or more consonants to the right. Either way you want to say it. I've also said that a vowel becomes heavy when it has a line over it. And I've also said that the letter E is always heavy. I have also said that that's not a good example because that's hard to see, but I think at that distance, perhaps you can tell that that is a line, not a dot. I have also said that when there's an H with a dot under it, that makes the preceding vowel heavy. And I've also said that the last syllable of any line can be considered heavy. I'm going to show you this. That, no. It's not a good example. There. Maybe that's a good example. Does that I look like it has a line over it? It does. Now, that, again, I'm going with this example because you're going to remember the pattern of this chanda easily. Da 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 da. So therefore, when you're looking at this page, you can download this PDF or I can share it in the comments. That you can look at this chanda and you can jog your memory and practice your recognition of chanda, because this chanda is so easy to remember anyway. It's basically like as I said, it's a exercise that's easy. What else do we have? All these rules that we covered. Here, let's just keep going. Kunkum. NK, so that became heavy. Okay, here's another one. The letter O is always heavy. I'm going to find one, but if there's a U with a line over it, it's also heavy. I'm looking for a couple of more examples of rules. I could just say them without showing them to you, but I'm going to look for them. Well, there you have a U with a line over it. Let's see if we can find some more. I might just have to tell you them if I can't find them fast enough. There we go. That AU there is a diphthong, and all the diphthongs correspond to pure letters. So that AU, it corresponds to the letter O. So just like the letter O is always heavy, that diphthong AU is always heavy. There's also an AI, which we're bound to find soon enough. And it is corresponding to the letter E. And that is also always heavy. So let's see. Let's describe them. So far, we've covered that if it comes before two or more consonants, it's heavy. If it comes with a line over it, the letter A, the letter I, the letter U, when they have a line over them, they're heavy. When they don't, they're light. That the letter E and the letter O are always heavy, as well as their diphthong forms. AU and AI are always heavy. We've covered that the letter H with a dot under it makes the vowel to the left heavy. We've covered that the last syllable of any line becomes heavy. There's another rule, which I still haven't found an example of. And that is that an M with a dot over it makes the vowel to the left heavy. And I think that about covers it. So I will leave you momentarily, since this video is so long at 22 minutes. Hardy har har. Or shall we go to another poetic meter and see if we can find some more examples? Let's do that. This poetic meter is called Malini, and it has this pattern. It also has 15 syllables, but see how different the pattern is. Right? That's, I'll say L and G, meaning Laguru and Guru, light and heavy. So L means light and G means heavy. Okay? La 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 la. I'm sorry. La 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 ga ga la ga. That's so hard. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm not used to it. Anyway, I will just emphasize with my voice. La 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 ga ga da 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 da. Yeah, I'll just stick to da or whatever. Da 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 da. Also, I want to mention that whereas melody, which is the rise, well, which I will, for now, I will define melody as being the rise and fall of pitch, or the usage of scale degrees in any scale or modality, which I think melody can encompass more than just those features, but for now I'll just say that Chanda is distinguished from melody in the sense that it is simply the pattern of cadence of syllables being heavy or light and long or short. Another way to define or describe cadence or prosody or chanda is to describe them as being long and short, heavy and light, accented and not accented, okay? So this Malini Chanda group Kripayati yadi radha badhita shesha badha is also 15 syllables, but here we have 6. Kripayati yadi Kripayati yadi. That's 4, 2. All of them are light. Kripayati yadi radha badhita shesha badha. That's, let's see. La 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 ga 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 la ga ga la ga ga. So we have 6 light syllables, then 3 heavy ones. Radha badita shesha badha. So that's da 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 da, right? Da 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 da. Is that simple? I think it takes a little while. In fact, I can't even remember it. My voice can remember it, but intellectually I have a hard time iterating it or explaining it. Let's try that again. It's 6 light syllables, then 3 heavy ones, then a light one, then 2 heavy ones, then 1 light one, and 2 heavy ones. So that's 6 and 9, right? Da 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 da. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Da 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 da. Is that clear? Da 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 da. I usually do this by clapping my hands, but since my hands are not free to clap, maybe let me try to free up my hands, or let me clap. Let me snap my fingers. I can't do that. I don't know if that worked. That didn't feel like that worked. Okay, so that's Malini Chanda. It's also 15 syllables, but it has a completely different pattern. But let's discuss why this is a light syllable, right? It looks as if there's 3 consonants there, but there's no vowel. Well, that R with a dot under it can be construed as a vowel. So now imagine that that's an I, kip. Now you see how that's a light syllable? No I with a line over it, and no conjunction of consonants. Imagine that that's kip, because krip, krip, this is, anyway, it's a letter that maybe we just don't have in English, but this r is not considered a heavy syllable, and furthermore, it is not necessarily construed as a consonant. I think it actually is counted as a vowel. So krip, kripayati, yadi. All 6 of those are light syllables. Kripayati yadi, radha. A's with lines over them, heavy. Another A with a line over it, heavy. Dit. See how this T is a consonant on its own? So that I remains light. And there, obviously, a heavy syllable, A with a line over it. Letter E, obviously a heavy syllable. Obviously a light syllable. A vowel, an A with no line over it, followed by only 1 consonant. But there you have 2 more A's with lines over them. So, kripayati yari radha bharita shesha badha. Kimaparavishishtam. Kimaparavishishtam. Did I say that right? Kimaparavishishtam. Well, well, now that's interesting. And I think I've encountered this before. Here it looks as if, and I'm pretty sure I'm correct here, here it looks as if there are only 5 short syllables. Let's try this. Yes. Sish. The sixth syllable there, that sish, has to be heavy because you see it's coming before 2 consonants. Kimaparavishishtam. And that is an example of what I was looking for earlier. The M with a dot over it makes the vowel to the left heavy. Pushti. Heavy light, right? U followed by 2 consonants, and I followed by 1 consonant, and no line over that I. Maya. Now, with RY, I want to say that in Sanskrit grammar, R and Y and V, for that matter, R, Y, and V are all considered semivowels, which also means that they are semiconsonants. And what that really ultimately means is that they can be construed as either a vowel or a consonant, case by case, or speaker by speaker. Different accents from different places will construe them differently, and then in those different mother tongues or in those different words where they may appear, there may be some reason why it's going to be considered as a vowel or a consonant, as the case may be. Here we find an R and a Y, which are both considered semivowels, ganging up to make 2 consonants against that A. Okay? Mayadayorme. All right? A, no line, became heavy because of RY. A became heavy because of line. A stayed light because no line, no 2 consonants. O became heavy just by dint of being itself. And E is heavy just on its own strength. Okay? Tongue twister. Yadivadati cha kinchit. Let's try this. Yadivadati cha kinchit. So, again, we're back to 6 short syllables. Yadivadati cha kinchit. I, no line over it, but it comes before NC. I with no line over it, but it comes before TSM. E, heavy on its own. A, light on its own with no other factors. A, heavy because of line. O, heavy on its own. I, light on its own. A became heavy because of SR. And I, heavy because line over it and final syllable in the line. Dvijavada mani panktya. That's again 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But here, panktya. A became heavy because of NKTY. Right? Okay, A became heavy because of line. U became heavy because KT. I remains light. U becomes heavy because KTY. A becomes heavy because line. A remains light because no line, no two consonants. A becomes heavy because line. And Kim becomes heavy because final syllable of the line. With that, I think I will leave you. I will recap briefly before we say bye for now. In this video, I have covered a few things which are essential in my lessons of Chanda. First, that Chanda basically means emphasis on the right syllable, not emphasis on the right syllable. That this is actually a common feature of every language that I can think of. That this is called Chanda. That it can be described as heavy versus light. It can also be described as long versus short. And I've covered that what we are looking at is called IAST, Internationally Accepted Sanskrit Transliteration, and that if any students were familiar with looking at the Devanagari script or any of the other more local scripts that are used for Sanskrit, then we could do that. But since we're looking at IAST, that's what we're using to describe the rules. I've covered that for counting syllables, that we are going to use the thumb on either hand to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And that system is very helpful because the maximum number of syllables in, well, I will say in most of the chandas that you're going to encounter, that 21 is the maximum. Although I will say that, in fact, there are longer chandas, but I have not encountered them hardly at all. But 19, 21, 17, 16, 15, 14s, 12s, 11s, and 8s, these are all very readily found in chandas. And by that, I'm talking about the number of syllables in one line. And generally, Sanskrit poetry is going to have 4 such lines that match. Although you will find with 8s, 11s, and 12s, very frequently there will be mixing of the pattern in one line and mixing of the number of syllables and pattern between the lines. We will cover that in some other video. So also I've covered that I've covered 2 different chandas, both of 15 syllables incidentally, and I've covered the first one, which was of this type, da 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 da. Very simple and easy to remember pattern. Kun kumak takan shanab jagar vahari gorabha. It was a different one. It was actually I think that one. And then we've covered this, which is also 15 syllables, but a completely different pattern. We have covered we have covered all the rules that I can think of, all the rules that tell you whether a syllable is heavy and light. So thanks if you made it this far. I hope that this video really helped you. If you get something out of it and you find a Sanskrit verse and you're able to recognize it as either Malini in this case or as Tautaka in that case, or any other Sanskrit verse and you can recognize what chanda it is, let me know. And if you want me to send you a 1 or 2 page PDF that describes most of, if not all, the most common styles of Sanskrit poetry, it describes them and explains them and gives you examples of them, then let me know, because I will send you that PDF. And yeah, I would love to hear you maybe even recite some of your favorite Sanskrit poems, and hear your questions. So I'm thirsty, and I will leave you with that. Bye.